for the live stream, because it's a live stream. My stuff is cropped weird. That's nobody wants that. Stop that. Why's my stuff cropped weird? Am I live? I'm live, right? No. Okay, good. My stuff's cropped weird. Why's my stuff cropped so weird? I mean, it's fine, I guess, but how do I make bigger? At least one of my videos need to start. Okay, I don't want to highlight. I'm a professional. I know what I'm doing. It's just the screen's slightly smaller. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just the screen is slightly smaller, and I'm panicked.
What do you mean it's slightly smaller?
It's different. It's not that different. Usually it looks like that. Usually it's like the whole screen.
Well, it is on here, so.
Well, good for you. I'm glad it's not. It's not about the production. It's about the principle. It's a live stream.
It is a live stream.
It's a live stream. I am still sick. I didn't do my live stream last week because I was sick. I'm still sick, but I don't want to miss another live stream. So
you got me sick.
I did get you sick. I did get my lovely wife sick.
Yes, you did. That's the reason I'm home.
What can be done? What can you do?
Supposed to be at work tonight, but no, I'm here because I'm sick.
Well, whose fault is that?
Yours.
Is it though? Is it really? When you think about it, isn't it all in God's hands? There's a live stream. I've been making a lot of posts about hello, Calvin. I've been making a lot of posts lately, the past week or so, about LGBTQ plus stuff, and got a lot of. I've gotten a lot of, people with opinions. Mostly ignorant and bigoted. So that might be one of the things I focus on in the live stream. Just because. Hello. I am not a denomination. I am an atheist. Do I know what is sex, like biological or just the sideways beat pop? What did I just open? I just did magic. I'm ADHD on my screen. Clicking things and magic. You put the thing in the thing. And do the thing. Yeah. More or less. And make the thing. I can't wait till my kid grows up and I can explain that. She's in high school and she's like, where do babies come from? You put the thing in the thing and you do the thing and you make the thing. Done. No more questions, please. Don't ask Daddy scary questions.
My dad got out his hunting magazine and used a doe and a buck.
That's one way to do it. Yeah. Bro looks like Woody from Toy Story. Don't disrespect Woody like that. After all he's done for Andy. After all he's done for Andy. Hi, kitten. I have two of the kittens. There was a third kitten.
You want to say hi to the peoples?
You want to say hi to the peoples?
You want to say hi to the peoples?
Everybody loves cats.
It's a kitty. This is Snickers.
She seems to not like being held, but she is purring, so. Don't be scared to talk about your Lord. We all need Jesus to stand in our place in judgment. I'm not really scared to talk about Jesus. I talk about him pretty often in my content. I don't really consider him my Lord or think that I'll, be in a judgment or anything. But yeah, we can talk about Jesus. It's fine. How many child have I born? I have one child. Awesome, let's do this. Let's do this. Are you a good person? What does that even mean? Really? Jesus took drugs? It's possible. Who knows what they had back then. They could have gotten a hold of, could have gotten their hands on. I'm also with the good person question. I have an incredibly negative bias towards myself, so my quick answer would be no. I try to be, but I'm one of those. I'm very critical of myself and every little mistake that I made.
You don't believe me.
Well, you're my wife. You're like obligated to say that, so it doesn't count. I should. AKA, he watches a lot of adult content. Is there anything wrong with watching adult content? Jesus is real. Okay. Why should I believe that? I got 2 kitties next to me. But you can kind of see her little legs.
Yeah.
In the bottom of the screen. Have you ever lied, stolen, lusted for women, taken the name of the other, any disrespect to your parents? If so, you're like the rest of us who need a savior. I mean, that's kind of a jump. Need a savior. Like, you got to prove that there's a savior, prove that we need him. You got your whole system of Christianity of being saved from sins. You got to prove it. You got to prove it's a thing. The uniformity in nature. What about it? Like an argument for the existence of God, because it's not a very good one. As we speak, he's watching tons of. I'm watching tons of. Or God is. Is Jesus watching a ton of? Do your research and pray and seek. Oh, I've been trying to.
I mean, technically, if God knows and sees all, he sees everything everyone does.
He does. Resurrection is to die and live again. Okay, yeah, I think I would agree on that definition. Is there such thing as right and wrong? Isn't that such a great philosophical question? The Bible says so, of course. Sure. There's a lot of there's a lot of context there. Like, I don't believe in objective morality, like objective right and wrong and stuff. But then, like, if I'm trying to go to the grocery store and I refuse to get out of bed, that's the wrong choice if I want to get to the grocery store. So, like, there can be, like, right and wrongs. And when it comes to morality, it gets a little bit more fuzzy. Math realism is a solid fine-tuning, is it not? Fine-tuning isn't a good argument for God, I don't think. Hey, brother, how are you? I'm doing okay. I'm sick. I've been sick for the past week and a half. Not the greatest thing, but, like, I'm here. Haircut looks great. Well, thank you. I needed it. I was way overdue. My hair always gets a lot longer than I want it to because I'm terrible with making schedules for appointments, and then my person has a hard time squeezing me in. So it's like I wait weeks before I say something, and then my haircut person takes weeks to get me in. So it's just I need to get better at asking in advance. But it's cut now, so.
Miss the blonde.
I kind of miss the blonde too. Still got some nerve damage on my head, so.
I mean, I told you last time she could probably just put some foils in it instead of doing the cap.
Maybe. How is creation itself proof that God exists? Well, okay, so a few people are pointing out fine-tuning, intelligent design, all that stuff, and that's great, but it also is just kind of fallacious, because any argument that says we have no idea how this could work, there's no other explanation, therefore it has to be a God, is a God of the gaps fallacy, or perhaps an argument from personal incredulity. So it just doesn't work. You can't just say, look at how amazing it is. Look at how, You know, there's no way that this could have happened. Look at how perfectly fine-tuned everything seems to be. That's not a good argument for God. Sorry, I have so much mucus. I am still sick, so please forgive me. Maybe I'll actually cut it off in an hour in this live. I won't. 10 minutes in and I'm already getting an active chat. I'm not going to want to get off in 50 minutes. Hope you're having a blessed night. Doing all right. I'm sick.
Better than me right now.
You recommend watching Cliff? I never know how to pronounce his last name. I have. He's not. Well, I say I'm not really impressed. It's worth mentioning that any apologist, Christian apologist, you know, that's been doing this for a while and stuff like Cliff, knows more than I do, has been in the game longer than I have, and is probably better at things than I am. So it's like, whenever I make any criticisms or anything about how this person doesn't really impress me or whatever, just know that the context is coming from a random nobody who wouldn't be able to last 2 seconds in a debate against these people. So... I'm getting quite a few chats.
You are getting quite the chat.
A painting is proof. I can't speak. A painting is proof of a painter, yes, because we understand how paintings work. We understand how painters work. We understand that people paint paintings, and we can verify and observe the entire process of somebody painting a painting and being a painter. From A to Z, we can see the entire process. So we got that. That does not then translate to the universe exists, so there has to be a designer. Huh? If you're gonna yell at me about the microphone, I didn't know if you were gonna be home.
First of all, don't say I'm gonna yell at you while you're alive. That's so rude. First of all, I wouldn't do that. Second of all,
Yelling is a strong
yeah,
one.
I'll do it
He
later.
grabbed this, and I'm like,
I did almost forget about the new tripod that you got me. That I did almost do.
That's the whole reason I came out here. I'm looking at it.
Yeah, it's so much better.
Oh, good.
This is what he used to have.
Yeah, it doesn't work. And it's got to be taped up, otherwise this part just droops around. Anyway, so I have people around me today. I'm not all alone. Distractions everywhere. I am falling behind in chat. I am so sorry.
Apologies.
It's an abductive case, not deductive. Explain which God. Usually when I'm talking about God, I usually focus on the Christian God, personally. God is very real. Okay, if you can prove it. What separates the winners from the losers is how a person reacts to each new twist of fate. Donald Trump. Inspiring. If someone came back from the dead, should we believe what they have to say? No. Technically, people come back from the dead all the time. People get resuscitated. But the fact that someone is able to be resuscitated, like, you could say it's through miraculous circumstances or whatever, but it's really just we don't know how it happened. You'd have to prove and demonstrate and verify that it was a supernatural cause. And then even then, I don't know, maybe they got resuscitated and immediately pumped full of Satan juice to where they're going to start telling lies and stuff. I don't know. Brute fact, God, because life is a miracle. No. Bring some wine and give a nod to Dionysus. Maybe. Wine's good. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to scroll down because I'm like 15 chats behind. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry if I miss anyone. Quit yapping? Never. Oh, unless you're talking to somebody else. Well, they can keep yapping too. Yoke is easy and burden is light. Okay, cool. Come to Jesus today? Nope. I'm throwing some Bible verses out. My normative ethical theory. Please explain what that is. You gotta speak in
Layman's terms.
layman's terms. Thank you.
You're welcome.
To me sometimes. I don't know about all of this. Like, if it wasn't for him, you wouldn't be here. Okay. Can you prove that, or has it delivered you from severe depression multiple times and suicide attempts? I mean, I'm not gonna sit here. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not really gonna engage much because with you because if this belief that you have stops you from taking your own life, I'm not going to be the asshole who sits here and tells you to give up that belief. I'm just kind of not. That's just kind of a hands-off situation, you know. I'm going to keep debating God and stuff in my videos and in the live stream, but I'm not going to really address you because, like, the fact that you're alive is kind of cool. It's kind of amazing, and we're all happy that you're alive. And if I can, like, not change that, if I can keep you alive, that would be ideal. In virtue of what is an action good? Hello, Kieran. Well, we seem to have developed a system of moral and ethics over time throughout human history that seems to be generally based around well-being, happiness, safety, things like that. So, for the most part, we've agreed on those as being the end goal. So anything that goes against that, anything that harms someone or takes someone's life, I think would be something bad. And anything that does good and helps people, it would be good. Of course, good and bad is not that simple. It's a lot more fuzzy, but we could call something good, I would say, if it's towards the ends of health and well-being and happiness. I would not really classify myself as utilitarian. I am not an anti-natalist. Oh, one of my thoughts. I'm so sorry. I got my things confused. If you don't want to have kids, don't have kids. I don't think there's anything wrong with procreating. It's how we continue as a species. But if you don't want to have kids, you don't have kids. Veganism, again, if you don't want to eat meat, don't eat meat. It kind of is what it is. So abortion is bad. I don't necessarily agree. This chat's moving fast, I'm sorry. Is that a Thomas Kincaid painting behind you? I have no idea. It's a painting that exists.
It's a painting that exists.
I don't even know where we got it. Alright, we got it from a grandmother. Abortion is premeditated murder. I wouldn't really agree with that. It's not conducive to well-being and pleasure to not kill sentient beings who will to live. If you're talking about abortion becomes a little bit of a messier topic. Because, well, for a lot of reasons. Sorry, somebody put in chat. First off, when life begins is kind of a fuzzy gray area. Some say conception, some say later on. Some say technically it doesn't begin until you're born because you're still one factor of life is being able to be viable, self-sustainable, not having to be hooked up to a person. Of course, people on ventilators and stuff, that's different, so life gets a little bit fuzzy. But ultimately, it comes down to this is something that is in, or someone that is in another person's human body using that person's body. And that person has the right to stop that something or someone from using their body. I think is what the biggest thing that drives me to be pro-choice is. I mean, the number one reason I'm pro-choice is because I don't have a uterus, so it's never going to be my decision. It's like I've seen people post the hardest decision a woman can make isn't yours, and it's not. Because a lot of women don't go skipping merrily to abortion clinics. Oftentimes it's like a very terrible, hard thing. And there's a lot of reasons people get abortions. It's not always just, I'm pregnant, I don't want to be pregnant, let's just kill babies, kill babies, kill babies. It's not necessarily what it is. There's a lot of reasons as to why. And there's a lot of reasons someone can get pregnant to begin with. But you do have rights over your body. If I die tomorrow, people can harvest my organs because I am an organ donor. I have signed off to be an organ donor. If I didn't sign off, it doesn't matter if somebody needs my heart or kidneys, if they're a perfect match, they don't get them. If I haven't signed off on that piece of paper when I was alive, nobody gets to touch my organs, and they literally waste away and rot inside of a body that is no longer using them anymore. Now think about someone's uterus while they're alive. And we take away abortion rights, we take away their right to their uterus. And even if somebody needed to be hooked up to a machine that is hooked up to you and use basically your life force, your blood, just straight from the tap to survive, you can unhook yourself from that machine at any time. You have the right to do so. It doesn't matter if you've caused their condition that puts them in that situation to need the machine and you or not. Oh my gosh, I'm like 20 things behind. I'm so sorry. If I don't respond to one of your chats, if it's like a minute before I respond, feel free to post it again, because I am getting quite a few chats, so I'm missing like all of them. Ideally, I would love to sit here and just scroll through and interact with every single chat, but there's so many, and that's just not going to happen. Why are you getting pregnant in the first place? There's so many ways that you can get pregnant. Someone can force themselves on you. You can have something go wrong with the protection. You can not have proper sex ed in school. Would you rather fight a bear or a lion to the death? Lion. Because I feel like it could probably kill me faster. I'm not going to survive either of those fights. Let's just get it over with.
It depends on the type of bear.
It does depend on the type of bear. This is true.
A lion is a lion, but there are multiple different types of bears.
And black bears and brown bears, you can have like ways to like not die, unless you are just throwing hands. Unless like we're skipping the whole play dead or fight back or whatever, make yourself big or whatever. If we're just skipping that and just throwing hands, yeah, it doesn't matter. But if I have a way to get out of it, then if it's a black or brown bear, I would choose it, not the polar bear.
Oh,
It's not going to work.
not the polar.
Abstinence. Panda bears. I've actually been told that panda bears. Well, and I mean that's a good point, because there are other koala bears. Is a koala even a bear? I could probably eat a koala across an enclosure if I needed to.
Define what bear.
Define what bear. Abstinence and I imagine like grizzly bear. Yeah, I imagine the first thing that probably pops into everybody's mind when you say bear. It's probably why you didn't specify. Abstinence until marriage prevents unwanted pregnancy. Abstinence. Sorry. Yes, it does. But sex is enjoyable. It's fun, it's nice, and great. It's great ways to connect to your partners. You wouldn't have this conversation if you were aborted? I would not. You're absolutely right. Do I believe in Satan or another word for dark entities? No, I don't really believe in anything supernatural. What is my belief system and what is the evidence? When it comes to supernatural, I don't believe in anything based on lack of evidence for supernatural. Aborted to go to heaven, right? So what's the issue? See, I get people, because God wiped out a lot of babies in the Bible, because he just did. In the Great Flood, wiped out the entire world, there were babies. Sodom and Gomorrah, there were babies. But people, one argument people, I have all three of the kittens. One of the arguments people like to give me is that, well, all those babies that God wiped out, they just got to go straight to heaven. Because they didn't have a chance to sin or anything. They could just go straight to heaven. So now you're opening the gate to, like, it being okay to, like, murder kids because they'll go straight to heaven. I don't know if that's, like, I don't know if that's a path you want to go down. That's a box that should maybe remain closed. There's also babies sure you shouldn't take sex so lightly. You shouldn't take sex so lightly. That's why there are things like contraceptives. What is this life about? I don't know. Morality is important when entering into a lifelong relationship. So I say, and it goes for men as well. Keep it. So you won't marry someone who's not a virgin. It's your choice. Up to you, I guess. God doesn't kill. People die all the time. It's tragic, but death is a fact of life in this fallen world. Okay, but like, if the Bible is true, and God flooded the entire planet, killing everyone except for 8 people in a boat full of animals, he did kill people. Also, God created this whole system and operates it, so everything is his fault. We can thank and blame him for everything. If he's the one in charge, he's the one running it, he's the one that set it in motion, especially if he's all-knowing and knew that everything would happen as it has. He gets all of the responsibility. So even if, I don't know, it's like you put guinea pigs in some kind of stadium and just like launch arrows through it every now and then. Every now and then a guinea pig gets hit. Hey, that's just a fact of the arena, the stadium. Sometimes guinea pigs just get hit with arrows. You set up the entire arena. You're letting the arrows be shot. You put the guinea pigs in the arena. Responsibility is going to go to you. Responsibility goes to the ringmaster. This guy's just mad at God. I'm mad at God as much as you are mad at Zeus, I imagine. Poor host having to deal with the Christian projecting checklist. Happens. This is a very active chat. Thank you all so much for being here. It's a very active chat. I like it. I'm sorry I can't keep up with all of you, but I do like it. It saves me from just sitting here mindlessly rambling. Bros just yapping? Always. You believe in the laws of logic? Sure. Try Jesus if you don't believe in him. Try him how? We were made from God's breath. Can you prove that? Why is God backwards man's best friend? It's a great question. Great question. It being advertised, this video just showed up on my home list. I'm not going to complain. God didn't have to give us life or free will. Sure. I'm kidding. Sorry. sister. Just stare down her sister for a second.
I can tell she was amusing. Snickers.
Seems to me glad you're open to discussion. I try to be. Do I believe anything? I believe that if you wreck a car, you might get hurt. I believe that if I drop my fidget cube, it will hit the ground. Why defend LGBTQ? Why not? What's wrong with defending LGBTQ? That's actually what I wanted to talk about in this live. But I always let the chat decide. So. Can you explain the Bible's ability to give 100% perfect prophecy? No other person nor book can do it. Only Jesus knows the end from the beginning, never proven wrong. Okay, if you can give me 100% perfect prophecies, verified and everything, then yeah, sure, we can have that discussion. You believe everything was created by nothing? No. Do you believe you cease to exist at death? Essentially. The way I see it is kind of like a projection and a projector. So our consciousness, our feelings, our emotions, us, what we might call us, is just the brain doing stuff. So when we die, the brain stops doing stuff. And all of those actions, those thoughts, feelings, memories, emotions, consciousness, all just kind of stop. So essentially, what I would call me, my consciousness, thoughts, feelings, yes, I think a good descriptor would be that they just cease to exist. My body will continue to rot away or do whatever happens to whatever here. But me, I guess you could say, the conscious me, I guess you could say, would stop existing. I do believe rape is absolutely wrong. You believe in cause and effect, not God? So you believe in cause and effect, not God. I believe that things happen, and they often cause other things to happen. Analogy, you are coming at me with the list. So if I say I'm a draft typing, you should believe me? Should you believe me? Why should I believe you if you say that you're a draft typing? What reason would I have to believe that? Every scholar proved that Jesus Christ and God is real? Okay, where can I read their amazing works that absolutely prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that God and Christ are real? Just like if someone came and unalived your mom, let's just say wouldn't you think they deserve judgment? Only difference is God is always forgiving and never would forsake you no matter how many times you hurt. Yeah, but also if I reject him and don't believe in him throughout my life, even if I'm a good person, I'm still probably going to go to hell. Just for like not believing him and not wanting to be on his side, or like not going to mass on Sundays. I'm not killing anyone's mom. I'm just like not a Christian. That's my crime that deserves eternal punishment. God is love, he punishes people who decide to walk with Satan. God is love, he punishes people who decide to walk with Satan. Your love is weird. It's a very weird love. And chat just stopped. Hopefully that doesn't mean my live's about to get crashed or anything.
I can assure you, chat has not stopped.
Oh, it stopped for me.
It most certainly has not.
It stopped after.
It is going.
It stopped after the person asked if I believe he's a giraffe.
My love, it is going.
No!
Look at this.
No!
It is going.
I want to read! Why? Why have you done this? Alright, well...
Chat, you'll have to apologize. He is not getting your chats.
Well,
I can see them.
Well, let me see your phone.
There. Okay, there you go. There's one.
Scroll through chat on here. Here. Don't eat my cord, please, Snickers.
Just unplug it. I think it's...
It is fully charged. Figuring this out. Figuring this out. Could Satan be a good guy? Maybe. Repent? No. You need to repent. Look it up. Why? Will you allow me to give you prophecy? I'm sorry. Will you allow me to give my list of prophecy proofs found in the Bible? It's a long list. It might be easier for you to do that after I post the live. Maybe it'll be easier because you can't fit it all in the chat. Maybe after I post the live, I will say from what I see in the prophecies in the Bible, I see internal and external prophecies. There's internal prophecies of like the Old Testament saying stuff's going to happen, and then that stuff happening in the New Testament. That's not really anything impressive to me because that's just someone writing down something in chapter 1 and then somebody in chapter 2 with the knowledge of chapter 1 writing down that thing happening. You got to prove that it all happened as it did, especially because the Bible has been changed and tweaked and stuff, so there has been parts of the Old Testament that have been tweaked and changed and passages shoehorned in to give prophecies, so that doesn't really work. As far as external prophecies, like end-time prophecies, they're too ambiguous. They're too broad and open to interpretation. There have been so many instances where people have said, this is a fulfillment of this end-time prophecy. And then the world didn't end. And then like 20 years later, they're like, okay, that wasn't the fulfillment of that prophecy. This is. And then 20 years later, no, that wasn't, this is. You know how many people in the last 2,000 years thought that they were the last generation? Including probably the ones that Jesus would have spoken to, because in the Bible, Jesus says that they are. That some of them will not see death until essentially the world ends. So you gotta have, in order for an impressive prophecy, it has to be 100% perfect and exact, not broad or open to interpretation or anything like it. It has to be exact, and it has to be something that humans cannot do or predict or have any real way of otherwise predicting. Like if somebody wrote down 2,000 years ago that in the year 2025, a giant head man would appear in the sky and go blah, 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 and that happened, that'd be pretty cool. Of course, we have drones and stuff now, which honestly makes it kind of annoying. We have, because like, for a long time, people have said, like, we need photo evidence or video evidence. That would prove God. But now we have, like, Photoshop and, like, AI and stuff. So, like, it's cheating. I think it sucks because, like, you could get a video of, like, God's parting the heavens and, like, doing something great and it actually happening, and people will be like, nice AI video. So it's like, it's not really fair for theists. I think we've really tipped the scales there. But something that cannot be recreated, like, I don't know, maybe the earth splitting in two and then being put back together or something. You know, somebody prophesied that. This has to be something specific, and it has to be something that humans can't just do or can't have any way of predicting. Like, eclipses. If you predict an eclipse, it's not very impressive, because if you can map how the things move, you can predict an eclipse. Maybe not like 2,000, 6,000 years ago. No! Why do I fear God? I don't. No!
I did wonder what chat froze on your screen.
I don't know why chat froze on my screen. I'm kind of upset that it did. It stopped after Project asked me if I should believe that they're a giraffe. Yeah, fix my chat.
I don't know if I can, Lila. I know nothing about this stuff. I'm just... Guess it should keep going. Why? I don't remember though.
Israel becoming a nation again is not a starting point. If people know that that's a prophecy and they work to make that thing happen, it's not necessarily impressive or incredible for the reasons I just explained, which you put that post before I explained it, so. Can I read your comment up there? It has a lot of stuff. Chat's really moving fast. I don't know if you can see it. So your comment's been drowned. You can keep trying to post it and hope that I can get to it. No! No! Where is the sound?
That was like on the lowest, wasn't it?
Apocalyptic end time monism is correct or false? I don't know what that means. We're all in your dream? Maybe. Maybe we're all just brains and vats.
This is all simulation.
The New Testament didn't exist yet. If you're talking about like the internal prophecies, yeah, it didn't exist. But when people existified the New Testament, the Old Testament and its prophecies already existed, so they could have just plugged things in. Fingerprint, retinal, and facial scans, DNA upgrade, vaccine upgrade certificate. So where exactly in Revelations does it say that? Because this is another ambiguous thing. They'll take the mark of the beast on their forehead and their palm. People have taken that to mean 1,000 different things since then. Maybe not 1,000, but many different things since then. So it's ambiguous. When does the word vaccine specifically come up in the book of Revelations? Specifically. Because otherwise it's just broad, open to interpretations. Somebody mentioned in one of my comment sections recently, and I told them that I would steal this. The Bible is a sock puppet. You can make it say whatever you want. Another person has described it as a choose-your-own-adventure book, because you can open to just about any passage in the Bible and find some way to twist and distort it to make sense in modern times. That doesn't mean that it's anything prophetic or impressive. You're forgetting that the Gospels are accounts. They're not just literature or narrative. They are accounts of real-life events. Are they, though? I often say, at best, the Bible seems to be a work of historical fiction. Meaning, there could have been real people and events and places, but just with fictional things woven in. Assuming that any of it existed at all. What?
Is it like Abraham?
Like Abraham Lincoln Vampire Slayer. Assuming any of it existed at all. Because the Gospels aren't eyewitness accounts. We don't have any first-hand eyewitness accounts of Jesus. And put what to the test? I'm sorry. So many things are saying. John is the eyewitness and disciple of Jesus. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John were probably not written by Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. They were probably not written by first-hand eyewitness accounts. And many scholars would agree with me on that. The Salvation Zone, you're just AIDS, Zika, hantavirus, Ebola. Where do these come up in the Bible? Where are these words said in the Bible? It's got to be specific and exact. Yeah, pestilence can mean a lot of things, dude. Pestilence can mean an insect swarm, which happens. Playing Magic the Gathering in here? Maybe. And disease happens. It does. Nations rising and falling and conquering other nations happens. It does. It just does. I should probably try to defend the LGBTQ plus community. Anybody have anything to say? We can say LGBTQ plus community. I put it in the thumbnail. I feel like I should at least mention it 45 minutes into the video. There has to be a creator. The Big Bang didn't create itself. All this isn't random. Just because you don't understand how something worked or how something happened, just because we don't have any explanation, does not mean it automatically has to be a god.
This has seriously been 45 minutes already?
It has.
Wow.
That's moving fast. Moving fast.
Dang, it does move fast. I've had to late in this. I'm real time listening to you and watching on my screen.
Can someone answer me this? If there's an existence, there has to be an original external existence for anything to exist in the first place. What is that exactly? I don't... Like an existence outside of existence? To make existence happen, you would have to back up that claim. But you can say, yeah, this all started and came from something. You believe life came from non-life. Yeah, and so do you. My explanation just doesn't involve magic. The rivers across the earth are starting to turn red. Rivers turn colors sometimes. You believe that chaos forms conformity? It's not... somebody threw in Pascal's wager. I understand that our solar system kind of has a relative calm to it, but that doesn't mean that there's calm from chaos exactly. Like, there's still rocks and debris and meteors and meteorites hitting us and different planets. Like, there's still stuff happening. We have relative calm in our solar system because I like to use the analogy of a pool table. When all the pool balls are on the pool table, you're more likely to hit a ball into another ball and another ball and all hit each other, which is what was happening in the early solar system. But once enough of these pool balls get put into the queue or with the solar system, collide into each other, get yeeted off into space, become debris or whatever, we run out of stuff to hit. We're in our orbit with nothing else in our orbit because we've either hit or yeeted everything in this orbit. So now we're good. And once that calm was there, and Earth wasn't getting blown up every 2 seconds, not every 2 seconds, but once we weren't just getting bombarded by everything, things were able to calm down and life was able to form. We could still get hit by random space stuff and absolutely be obliterated. And there's plenty of chaos going on in the cosmos as we speak. If I'm wrong, you could end up in hell. And if you're wrong about any other religion, you can end up in their hell. I hope I'm keeping up with these chats decently. I'm not single. My wife is sitting next to me.
Hello.
Most other religions don't have hell.
Taken.
This is true. This is true. Or you can get the bad end or the bad afterlife. But even if it's not any other religions, what if you're wrong and Islam is the one true thing? LGBTQ, thank you for saying something about LGBTQ. I put it in the thumbnail. I should probably mention it at some point. It goes against God's original creation, man and woman. That doesn't mean gay people are not loved by God. Jesus takes you where you are, but encourages and convicts you to do better. Prove that God exists and that prove that he exists, that you know what he wants and that this is what he wants, and that I should care. Because the God of the Bible is okay with beating your slaves. So I don't really care about what he says is good or right and wrong. Do you believe Jesus exists? I'm not sure, honestly. How much can you bench? Probably very little. Islam is like fan fiction. It rejects Judaism and Christianity. I can't completely disagree with that. But that doesn't mean that Judaism and Christianity are correct. How has it improved God to me? I'm not sure. I have not ever been with a guy before.
Because I snatched you up.
Because I met my wife when I was in 7th grade, and we've been together since.
12, 13 years now?
13. Sorry.
I didn't give you the chance.
Didn't give me the chance to hook up with other
I
people.
did not.
Are you good? You're an itch. Have you at least tried calling out to Jesus Christ, asking him if he were able to help you to see him more clearly? I was a devout Christian for the first 20 plus years of my life. I thought I had a good relationship with God and with God, Jesus, however you want to say it, and thought I interacted with him throughout the day. Thought I would get signs and messages that would help guide my steps. Would pray like all day throughout the day to make sure my steps were aligning with his will.
Multiple people thought you were supposed to be a priest.
Yeah, a lot of people thought that I was being called to become a priest because I used to advocate for Christianity and speak out in defense of Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't really work out, but you know. Did you have true faith? I did. I truly believed and dedicated my life to the Christian God. Why did I leave? When I was... So I wanted to spread God's light, love, and message as far as I could, throughout the whole world if I could. I wanted to be a Christian apologist. And when I was in high school, I took a Christian apologetics class, which if you don't know, it's defending the faith. I'm so glad you're here today, because otherwise I just wouldn't have chat. Sorry.
You're welcome.
In that class, I learned how woefully unprepared I was to defend the faith. I'm like, if I go up on a debate stage against an atheist, I'm going to lose, and I'm going to make myself and all of Christianity look foolish. Can't have that. So I dove into my studies, studying scripture, church history, other religions, their histories, arguments for and against God, scientific explanations for things, all of that. And I'm not saying this across the board for everyone, but for a lot of us, when you really start to look closer at that stuff and look more deeply into that stuff, it's kind of like peeking behind the curtain. And behind, seeing the Wizard of Oz, seeing the man behind the curtain, and seeing that maybe things aren't what you've been previously led to believe. So things like religions and gods really start to lose their credibility. And slowly, over the course of about 7 years, I drifted away from the faith and am now an atheist. I have a full deconstruction story video on here somewhere, one of my live streams, which there's only like 15 live streams, so you could scroll down and find it. It's like an hour long, so if you don't want to watch that, it's not going to hurt my feelings if you don't. But that's a not SparkNotes version. That video would be a non-SparkNotes version because I don't have an extra hour to go through my entire deconstruction story. I mean, I got through it in like 45 minutes, and then I think I talked about something else.
You didn't have me here. You would have just thought that chat stopped talking.
I would be rambling on my own. I would have thought, well, because here's the thing, there's 45 people watching. So I would have...
You would have been like, Shirley.
I would have been a little suspicious. Like, why'd y'all get quiet?
Just told him why you're scared. That's so weird.
I don't know. I'm glad you're here, though. Hopefully it doesn't happen when you're not... Because, see, we already had an issue because my screen looks all different. I have like you might be watching this on like the full screen with like your whole phone screen. The top bit of my phone is black with like the battery thing up there. Or no, that's the recording thing. I don't know. You know God is real? Okay. What are you living for? What am I living for? Not dying. Not really. I mean, if this is the only life I know I get, I'm not really running out the door to like end it, because like why would I do that? I live for the people in my life that I love, I live for experiences, learning new things, experiencing life, even if it's not always fun, because it's not. Uh, just overall, I'm just kind of here for the ride. And also, like I said, just I don't believe in an afterlife, so it kind of looks like I'm just from what I can see, from where the evidence points, I'm essentially going to cease to exist after this life. I'm not in any hurry to get there. I have everything to live for. Did you truly at some point in your life believe in what Jesus did for you on the cross according to the scriptures? If you did, then you can't lose your salvation even if you wanted to. Well, then I'm good then. Because I did believe in that stuff. I am 27. I strongly doubt God's existence entirely. Salvation Zone, you found a cheat, because when I see that at Drew Skaggs, it catches my attention. You found a cheat to get me to see your whether you're intending to cheat or not. I'm not accusing you of anything, but you've stumbled upon something. Yeah, you can itch somewhere. I'm trying to help you find it. Sorry, there's a cat on my lap. I also keep looking at this camera. I got that camera. That's where you are.
Head pop up a little bit.
Yeah, I have a cat laying on my lap, and she's got like an itch that she's having issues with. It's like her ear or something. But then, like, every time I scratch her neck.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and
make sure it's not too tight or anything. There you go. Oh, I got it there.
Remove the collar for a second.
Jealous of that cat. What do I believe I came from? My parents. Doing the stuff and making the thing.
Your parents put a thing into the thing, did the thing, and made the thing.
Here's
the thing.
Why are you playing with it now? How long have you dealt with deconstruction? Because I'm 53 and I'm dealing with it for the last 15 years. I've been an atheist for about 2 years, but prior to that, I was just a theist for a while who didn't really believe in Christianity. And for a while, I was like already an atheist, just not quite, my brain not quite ready to let go of my beliefs. And even before that, just leaving Catholicism, leaving Christianity, leaving, all of that. Probably at least 2 years, probably 3 or 4. Deconstruction is a process, though. It is a thing, and it takes time, and it's going to take time, and it's going to take as long as it takes. It's not a race or anything. It's just one of those weird things. Especially if you're raised a certain way. That's just how you're programmed. We're shaped by our experiences and how we're raised. So if it's been ingrained in your brain that things are the way that they are a certain way, it's hard to just peel that away. It's an onion. It's a seemingly never-ending onion. You're just peeling back layers and layers and layers, and you're getting to layers that you didn't even know needed to be peeled back. So it's definitely a process. It's definitely a journey, and it definitely takes time, unfortunately. But in my experience, my short experience with deconstruction, it's gotten better as we go along. So it wasn't about a relationship with God that didn't fulfill you, but rather external sources you left. Did you feel unfulfilled before, or was it just doubts of the claims of the Bible? It was a lot of doubts, and that's why I was still, even after I left Christianity, I still believed in a God for a while, because I still thought I had that relationship. Thought I could feel and have that connection. And then I came to the realization that other people think that they have a connection with other gods with similar reasoning to believe. And there are people who claim to have connection to the same God that I have a connection with, but are getting different answers from that God. And some of those feelings that are brought forth by this supposed connection can be brought forth through non-magical means, certain situations, music, atmosphere, stuff like that. especially if you're in an emotional state, can lead to a lot of feelings that people mistake for something supernatural or divine. And it was just realizing that, and realizing that I have no reason to believe that my experience is any more credible than anybody else's. I think you were talking to agnostics, which they believe there is a God out there, but not the one and only God. That's not what agnosticism is. Agnosticism is just saying, I don't know, and just leaving it there. Just hands off, I don't know, not really taking a stance. How do you explain the intelligent design and fine-tuning of the universe? I wouldn't call it intelligent design or fine-tuning. Does it appear by chance? Why not at least be agnostic? I'm an agnostic atheist. And just because we don't understand how something works, even if we don't have any explanation for it, doesn't mean it simply must be a god.
I should put the camera down.
Should I put?
I think you should.
I don't know how to do that though. Yeah, this isn't like a move camera down.
I can do it.
Oh, she ran
Oh,
away.
true.
Okay.
There's one.
I guess a new tripod. I don't know how to adjust it without completely destroying everything. Jesus is coming soon. That's true. People have been saying that for a hot minute, and it's kind of just becoming the boy who cried wolf at this point. I'm sorry, I know I moved. I didn't like it.
Here's the other kitty.
There's the other kitty. There she is.
There she is.
See, this is like one of those points where I usually only like going live for an hour, but like I'm enjoying
We're in a lot of interaction.
all of this. I feel like I need to make a long form video on homosexuality. Why did the apostles and his early followers willingly go to public painful executions because they claimed to see the Christ resurrected? Why die for a lie? Prove any of it actually happened. And then look up Heaven's Gate. She hit a tin that was down here. In Jonestown. Moral universalism. Sounds familiar, but I can't recall a definition off the top of my head.
Hey, guess what? I would just be getting off work right now.
You should probably go to bed.
Probably.
Moral universalism is the idea that a universal set of ethics applies to everyone, regardless of race, discrimination features. It's a meta-ethical position that argues that some moral principles are universally applicable in all circumstances. Not really. Because that sounds a lot like objective morality, which I'm not really on board with. Heaven's Gate went hard. The laws of logic, I would say, are immaterial. I can't have a handful of the laws of logic. I can't hold it in my hand. Salvation. Did I graduate from high school? I did graduate. I graduated from a Christian high school. Story of Lost Daughters. Yep, that does exist. I actually believe in God. Why? When Jesus does come, whenever that is, nobody knows when, not even him, but what would be your first thought seeing him return based on your belief system now from turning away from him? What would be my thoughts? Skipping past any doubts that I might have that this is actually what I'm seeing. If it's like, this is God, this is Jesus, it's happening, it's real. Anger and confusion. It's like reading about the God of the Bible is kind of a monster. Like, I often say, if I pass away and I'm face to face with the Christian God, I'm going to have a lot of questions that would need a lot of good answers before I ever bow down to him or anything. Because if Jesus is real, then that means like everything in the Bible is real. If all that's real, then wow, I have a lot of questions. What the fuck is wrong with you? And, I would have a lot of questions for that being. Because that being is a monster. It's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of a living God. Sounds scary. It would be scary to be attacked by a vampire too. But like, I don't have any reason to believe vampires are real, so I'm not really worried about it. So I'm not really worried about falling into the hands of a living God, because I don't believe he's real. Job seemed to learn. Learned the hard way. It was very messed up. God making a bet with Satan. If you live for the people in your life, what happens when they're gone? I would hope you don't do away with yourself. It's a great question. It's a great question. Life has been a ride. And for the most part, it hasn't been all that fun. And a lot of times, the people I love have been the only things keeping me going. So if I were to just lose the people I love tomorrow, I would have to find other reasons to keep going. I would just, I would have to figure out something. The laws of logic are not supernatural. Just pray and read the Bible. What would that do for me? I thought I heard a cat throwing up for a second. He gave him tenfold what he lost. That's great, but he also murdered his children. The whole thing was just unnecessary because God made a bet with Satan. That's all just a completely unnecessary thing. But he also murdered his children. Children aren't property. Like, if you stole my car and gave me 10 more cars just like it or better, that's one thing. If you murder my child and then I have more children, that's great. But that child, that human being that I had a connection with, is dead forever. So, like, it's not a property thing when it comes to actual human beings that you have relationships with. Better convert to Islam in case it's real. Better convert to everything. Pray to all of God's. Be like that dude in the Mummy movie when the mummy was coming after him and he just grabs his necklace and starts praying to all the different gods, hoping that one of them would work. You got to just do that. Do that on your deathbed and you'll probably be fine. Even though some of the gods don't like you praying to other gods, so you might just screw yourself. But that God might not even be the real God anyway, so we're all just screwed. You might as well just live life. Be a good person, don't hurt people. His children were taken to paradise with their creator beyond our comprehension. So here we go again, just justifying murder. God can just kill everyone and just take them to paradise. Or not, because, you know, he's the potter and we're the clay, so it doesn't really matter. He can do whatever he wants. It's like, it's just justifying, you can just murder kids. It reminds me of, you know, God killing all the babies in the Great Flood or Sodom and Gomorrah. Well, they get to go to heaven because they haven't sinned. You're advocating for, you're saying it's fine, it's good to kill babies because they will go straight to heaven. The laws of logic aren't material, so by definition they are supernatural? No, that's not how that works. The laws of logic are concepts that we've created. Do I think of doing any stitches on TikTok of Christians or atheists on TikTok or respond on YouTube? Not really. I don't really do the stitches or anything. I don't really feel that. When I make my videos and I'm responding to commenters, I just put commenter in my little skits that I do. I just put commenter on it. Like, I don't even call people out specifically. I don't know. There's nothing wrong with it, I don't think. It's just not how I like to do my content. I don't like to just be like, look at this person who said this. Now I'm going to tell you why they're dumb. You know, it's not really how I want to do my content. So these laws like math, gravity don't exist outside of the human mind. Math is a language that we made up to try to understand the universe. So, yeah, gravity exists outside the human mind. If I drop my phone, it'll fall, or my wife's phone, rather. Gravity is a theory. Okay. Are you arguing that gravity is not real? Is that what's happening? When you believed in Jesus at the time, did you believe our bodies now were our soul, or this was a temporary body and it matters where your soul goes? The second one, temporary body. I believe that this was a temporary body, and that the soul goes somewhere else later. Gravity is a word we call the acting we observe. Well, then everything's made up. Everything's supernatural by that definition. This phone, we made up the word phone, so this phone doesn't actually exist. Yes, we put labels and we give names to things. That's different than just saying we've made it up. Yes, density, buoyancy, mass, gravity is still an unproven theory. I would encourage you to go look up the scientific definition of a theory. Because it's not like, it's just a theory. Theories are like essentially facts in the realm of science. It's the highest honor an idea can get. It's like we have actual credible evidence to see this as like a thing, like an actual true thing. So it's not just maybe we all see different colors. Maybe that's a theory. We all just see different colors. It's essentially facts without the arrogancy of humans thinking that they know everything and they can say 100% certain with 100% certainty that things are facts. So what happened? That wasn't words. So whatever happens to the body physically, would it really matter if the most important thing would be our soul and where our souls go? Ultimately, no, it wouldn't matter what happens to the body, I guess. Do you think it's possible to know anything for a fact? I don't, personally. And scientists don't claim to be able to know that either. My point is that there is a force logically ordering reality and causing it to act in such a way, and that force has to come from outside of the material, making it supernatural. Just because you don't understand how something works, just because we don't have a better explanation or can't explain it, does not mean it automatically must be a god or anything supernatural. You can't just plug God in. That's where the God of the gaps thing, that's where the name comes in. You can't just plug God into all of the gaps in our knowledge. We used to think that the sun rising and setting was some magical supernatural event. Same with natural disasters, astronomical events, solar eclipses and whatnot. We used to think that those were something divine and supernatural. And now we understand that they're just natural things, and we have actual, credible, evidence-based explanations for these things, to where this whole God of the Gap thing is no longer necessary. So, since the idea of, I don't know what it is, therefore it must be something supernatural, has failed us so many times in the past, it doesn't make sense to continue using it. If we don't understand how something works, we don't understand how something works. We cannot then jump forward and skip all of the process of proving that a God exists, proving that we know what it can do, what it wants, proving that it can do this or whatever. We can't just skip past all of that and just say it must be a god. You gotta prove that this god exists, prove that it can do the things that you're describing, and prove that it did do. And you need to do that without just saying, I don't know, therefore it must be. I should probably go soon. Anyone have anything against homosexuality? I put it in the thumbnail. I should probably mention it. Nothing wrong with homosexuality. I think I need to make a video on it, honestly. There's a lot of misinformation and a lot of ignorant bigotry going around. People just trying to discredit and dehumanize people of the LGBTQ plus community in really gross, disgusting ways that don't need to happen. They don't need to exist in the way that they do. I do not believe we have souls. I'm just kind of scrolling back up through chat. We're ants looking at the sun, shouting that it's too bright. Perhaps. The people who were killed in the flood were not humans. They were Nephilim, giant monsters. Only Noah was the pure of his generations. He was pure human. I don't think that's how the story goes, but okay. See, and then every now and then your chat stops, and I get scared.
What does it? At least you can refresh that.
Oh, you can refresh it. Oh, and then it just all comes back. Oh! I think I control God? No, I don't think God exists. At least I don't believe he does. But you said you didn't know what it would take to prove it to you, so you cannot claim there isn't proof. I don't think I can claim that there's no proof or evidence anywhere, but I can say that none has been presented that I have seen that gets me to believe. What makes me think God doesn't exist? I have no reason to believe that he does. So I don't really, I'm not making any claims that he doesn't exist. I just don't have any reason to believe that he does. How much did you read the New Testament, and did you understand we're saved by faith in what Christ has done for us and not what we do for him? I have read the New Testament multiple times, and I do understand that there are different ideas of how we are saved, including faith, works, and a combination of the two. or neither. Ask God to reveal himself. I did that a lot. And I thought I was getting answers, but now I question them. Jesus Christ has risen. How do you know? Do it now? No. Faith alone saves. Okay. Well, I don't have faith anymore. The smartest man in the world, over 210 IQ, Christopher Langan, said God is real and is a necessary fact for everything to exist. That's... So belief in God is not really an intelligence thing. There's a lot of reasons why a smart person or a dumb person might believe or not believe in the existence of a God. There's a lot more variables involved. It's not about IQ. Only God knows the way to reveal himself that you would truly believe. True. I agree. And he hasn't done that. So... Boys dodging my cues. I haven't seen your cues. Chat's moving kind of fast. What's your name? Was that anything? I don't know if I'm getting your chats. You don't believe because you haven't been shown the truth yet. God reveals himself to us. Sure. Maybe. In which case, that's not my problem. Do I think the universe has a cause? I think something had to have happened to get us to where we are now. You said you felt he answered, but then you doubted it. So is God responsible for the doubts you had? When is it enough? That's going to be a God thing. God would know what it would take to convince me. Pride keeps atheists blind. I can make the same argument for theists and for Christians. Selfish pride. Now I'm selfish. And I started to have doubts about my connection with God because other people also claim to have connections and communications with the same God as me, but get different answers and come to different beliefs. And also people claim to have the same interactions with other gods. So how do I know who's right? I've seen people very passionate about Allah and their belief in Allah. I've seen people very passionate about their belief in Vishnu and thinking that they have some kind of connection, that they have this, some kind of supernatural divine something that's going on. So we're having the same thing happening to someone who's following God, someone who's following Allah, and someone who's following Vishnu, and someone who's following all these other gods. So how do we know who's right? Or are we all just wrong? Is it just the brain doing brain things, confirmation bias and things like that? Satan keeps souls bound? Damn, so he must be like stronger than God. Like God can't even come in and save me and prove himself to me. Then like Satan must be like really strong. Look at that lifestyle and evidence compared to other gods. I don't think it's the comparison that you think it is. I much prefer some of the Eastern religions to Christianity. I think the Abrahamic religions are like the worst, among the worst in modern day. Jesus didn't create automatons. He gave us a choice. If you don't want to live with him forever, he won't make you. There is a place he will not exist called hell, where he will not let you exist. There's a place he will not exist called hell where he will let you exist. Yeah, a place of eternal torment. Because God's thing is either love me and follow me, or you get to suffer for all of eternity. Because I'm an all-powerful, all-knowing, all-loving being, but this is the best I can do. If you don't follow me, I have to send you to this place where there's nothing good and it's eternal suffering. It's one or the other. There can't be like another happy place without God. If my kids don't want anything to do with me, if my daughter grows up and wants nothing to do with me, I'm not going to make it my life's mission to torment her for the rest of her life. I'm going to hope that she goes off and finds happiness without me, and I'm not going to stop her from finding that happiness without me, because I'm a good parent, unlike God. And it's also, what we're discussing right now is belief. Belief isn't a choice. There's believing in God, and then there's choosing to follow that God. I don't believe in God, and even if I did, I wouldn't choose to follow him. But God could show up. He could at least show up to me and a lot of other people, maybe even people who would follow him if he were proven to be real. And he doesn't. So what's going on with that? I'm like 30 minutes late to ending the live. There was the final judgment, prove it. God did show up, Jesus is God, prove it. That's what the Pharisees said to Jesus, show us a sign. So God rewards just blind faith. Don't ask questions, just believe. You can be led to believe anything based on that. And a lot of people are. A lot of people are indoctrinated into other religions and just told, just look forward, walk a straight line, don't doubt, this is real, don't question it. I don't know. I don't think a good, all-knowing God should condemn critical thinking. I think critical thinking is kind of important, but that's just my own, sad, humble human thoughts. The things I went through don't have to control my belief system? No. But they can have an effect on it. Nope, not blind faith. It's faith steeped in evidence and critical thinking. Okay, what kind of evidence? The problem is you cannot define what would happen for you to say this is proof, and you reject what other people might have experienced this proof already. I don't know what it would take to prove that God is real. Or I don't even need 100% proof. I look for sufficient reason to believe. I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know what that would take. God should know. An all-knowing God should know. An all-powerful God should be able to do whatever it takes to convince me. An all-loving God should want to convince me. So I'm waiting for God. I don't know. I'm not sitting here saying nothing will convince me. I'm saying I don't know, and nothing that I have been presented with I have found compelling. There have been some interesting things here and there, but nothing compelling. Nothing that gives sufficient reason for belief. It would take a miracle. It's literally called faith. I can have faith that this water bottle is going to turn into a unicorn one day and carry me off to Valhalla. And other people use faith to justify other beliefs and other gods and stuff. So faith is the reason that you give for believing when you have nothing. There's no reason to believe faith. It's what you plug in when you don't have evidence, and you can use it for literally anything. So it's not a reliable path to the truth. I don't seem very happy. I'm sorry. Life has not been kind. It's gotten me this far with a lot of depression and anxiety and trauma. I'm a lot happier than I was back when I was a Christian, for what it's worth. I am seeking. I am open to it. I have an open mind. I'm not closed to anything. I just need sufficient reason to believe. I just listed over 100 proofs that he knows the end from the beginning. The testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy. I explained to you earlier how the prophecies in the Bible aren't anything credible, and pointed out some of your prophecies, where you pointed out the Bible talking about things like AIDS and Ebola, even though the Bible doesn't say those words. So we're taking broad, ambiguous, open to interpretation prophecies and plugging them into whatever kind of maybe sounds right today. That's not a credible prophecy. Oh, you were never a true Christian to begin with. A great way to dismiss and discredit any actual legitimate grievances a former believer might have, while also alleviating a believer's fear that they too could lose their faith. Because if somebody who actually had faith lost their faith, that means they could too, and that's a terrifying thought. I know it was terrifying for me. So we just dismiss, discredit, wipe it off our plate so we don't even have to engage with it. Also, it's a no true Scotsman fallacy. I wanted God to list English words when English wasn't invented yet. I wanted him to be more specific about his prophecies and not be ambiguous. All of my truths have come from other people. All the things that I consider to be true, sure, have come from other people, have come from data collected and presented by people, and maybe some data that I have seen just firsthand through my observations of the world. I do count as a people. Did a friend hurt me a few years ago? Probably. Friends have hurt me. Somewhere in the past. Why? What better word than to say pestilence? Pestilence can mean a lot of things, and pestilence has happened a lot throughout the years, throughout the past 2,000 years. Why do I believe humans are valuable? Why not? We're thinking, active things. We seem to have some kind of consciousness and some kind of desire to have value and do things, and I'm one of those humans, so why not put some value on us? I have yet to meet a happy atheist. They are all doomy and gloomy, not healthy. Not all of them. Also, it's worth mentioning, a lot of atheists are former believers who used to be Christian, Muslim, whatever else. And a lot of us, part of the reason we are so gloomy is because of the trauma we sustained from our religious upbringing. So it's just crazy to me, like when Christians say, "Oh, you're so depressed," that means clearly, you strayed from God and all this stuff. How is how's Christianity going to help cause my issues? And then say, why do you have these issues? You must be fallen into the hands of Satan or whatever. It's just a really messed up way of thinking. Trauma is not a good reason not to believe. I agree. Forget the church. Done. And for the last 2 or 3 years that I was a theist, done. Paul said to believe in what Jesus did for you, that's it. He never said you have to love Jesus as a salvific, you can't use big boy words, salvific requirement. Only belief saves. Loving him isn't a measuring line to be saved. Okay, I just need sufficient reason to believe then. The birth rate of Israel being predicted after World War II. Can you give me a specific verse for that? Because I don't think the words World War II show up in the Bible either. How did leaving Christianity make me depressed? Leaving Christianity was one of the best things that I did for my anxiety and depression and stuff. I'm much better off now. How do you answer people who say you think you're better than me because you don't believe in anything higher than you? I get this a lot. I just say I don't believe that. If they're going to make baseless assertions, just claim things about me without any actual backing, especially if those things aren't true, I have the right to just sit here and say that's not true. And I don't really have to give too much. I don't need. If you're making the claim without evidence, all I have to do is say that claim is first off incorrect, and I can say it's incorrect because it's about me, so I can verify it. And you don't have any evidence to back it, so I don't really need evidence to take it down. So whenever someone says stuff like that, I just say it's just not the case. And I've done that a few times just in this live stream. Just like you believe everything came from nothing? No. And we move on, and if somebody wants to have more of a conversation about it, then they can have more of a conversation about it. But I don't know. You get a lot of, and this isn't an attack on anyone, but when you speak out against religion, it's a very sensitive topic for a lot of people. It's something that a lot of people are very passionate about. It's very important to a lot of people. So you're gonna stir up the hornet's nest a little bit. You're gonna get some of the nastier sides of people, and you're going to get all kinds of different accusations, all different kinds of things trying to discredit you, trying to attack your credibility, your person, your attack you, and you just can't let them all get to you. I've wasted videos. I've spent like an entire week in the past just making video after video, just defending against personal attacks, and then people kept making the personal attacks. It's like, why am I even doing this? Let's get back to the actual content. It's just, people are just going to say things about you, and I just kind of, I've been making this content for 2 years, so maybe it just kind of helps me. And before I was making this content publicly, I was making it privately, and I was getting a lot of mean comments from friends and family, people whose opinions I actually care about, people I actually love and care about, and whose opinions matter to me. So I've just kind of desensitized to it and gotten used to it. But yeah, I mean, people are going to say things, they're going to make claims. If it's not true, tell them it's not true. And if they want to have a discussion, we can have that discussion. I'm happier now than I was when I was a Christian. I'm sorry, it's possible that I misspoke, or my mumbling jumbling sounded like different words. But I'm much better now in every aspect, having left Christianity. Who is Jason? I have no idea. Jason Voorhees? I value life. When you don't value life, you won't be very happy. I value life. That's why I'm still here. One of the reasons I'm still here. Not only just for the people around me, not wanting to hurt the people around me, not wanting to cause pain in the lives of those who love me, but also just because of life. Life's a journey. And even though it hasn't been all that fun, I'm interested. I'm curious to learn more and see more and experience more. I also don't believe in an afterlife. So as far as I can tell, when I pass away, I'm just gone. So I'm not exactly rushing out the door to get to that. I think any existence, I would hope, would be better than just non-existence. Although, as someone who struggled with suicidal thoughts in the past, I definitely understand the thought process of thinking non-existence is better than a terrible existence. I'm not sure that was the name I thought had hurt you. It may have also been Jeff or something like that. No, not a Jason or a Jeff, I'm sorry. Are you trying to get prophecies from God? Because he's letting you down hard, if that's what it is. Where's my water? I put it down when I made my stupid analogy earlier. If there isn't an afterlife, what's the point in this one? Everything. Everything. It's like, if this is the only pie I have, why is this pie important? Because it's the only pie I have. I'm not getting another pie. So this is my only pie. I can only enjoy this one pie. Everything is about this pie. Everything matters. If there's no afterlife, if there is only this life, every bit of value goes into this life. You could take me out with one jab. I believe it. People don't eat in afterlife. This is true. The main reason I don't believe in God is severe lack of evidence for the existence of one. Think of why you are happier now as an atheist. Satan has you where he wants you in disbelief. When you're in Jesus' camp, he makes your life hell. Yeah, I understand that there are different fail-safes and things built in. Just it's things like that built in to try to keep people in the fold. Be like, and explain away why people are happier having left Christianity. It could be that nothing in Christianity is real. None of the supernatural claims are real, and that it is just a harmful belief system, and that leaving it, at least for most people, or at least for a good number of people, does just make them happier and better off and better people and all of that stuff. But if you have a mindset of Christianity being the end-all be-all, the only thing that's anything good, you gotta have some way to explain that. So we come up with things like, well, Satan's just leaving them alone so that their life can be good. And then that cage is going to slam shut at the end of their life, and it's all going to be over. Or maybe there is no God, there is no Satan, heaven, hell, anything like that. There's just life, and living it without this religious belief system is better, at least for some people. I need to end this live at some point. It's almost midnight where I am. When I think of the witness accounts of Jesus' life, is there one person, then we can write it off as fake, but it's multiple people that stuck to his side even when they were persecuted. We don't have any eyewitness accounts of Jesus' life. Like the book of Matthew probably wasn't written by Matthew. So we don't have any verified actual eyewitness accounts of people's life. Or anyone who we don't have any verification that people saw all of these miracles and wonders and saw this proof that I've been looking for, that, Jesus is God and whatnot, and we're willing to die for that. We have people, maybe at best, willing to die for something they believe. And you can look up things like Jonestown or Heaven's Gate and see how other instances like that have happened in the past. Or even just in throughout human history. Different nations have gone to war. People have fought and died for their country. Does that mean that their country is the best end-all be-all? Other people have fought and died and been persecuted and martyred for other religions. Does that give credibility to their religion? So it all just kind of starts falling apart. Why doesn't the world curse in Muhammad's name or Buddha's name? Why is it only Jesus' name used as a curse word? Because Satan knows Jesus is God and he hates him. Well, be careful when you use the word the world. Because I don't know about you, but I live in the United States where Christianity is the dominant religion. So it's the most relevant. It's the one that's spread throughout our lives and our culture and whatnot. So yeah, it ingrains itself in different aspects, including how we, exclaim when we stub our toes. I don't do that. We have thousands of Greek manuscript copies, so how many copies are there of Twilight? And now fast forward 10,000 years. How many copies are we going to have of Twilight? It's because we have... The story exists. The stories throughout the Bible exist, and they came into existence somehow. We got that. So all of those manuscripts and stuff exist because the story came into existence. Somebody didn't sit down 2,000 years ago and write the entire Bible. It's stories, different stories, and that's what those manuscripts are. But they don't prove anything. They don't get us really the credibility that you might be looking for. Don't eat your sister's collar. Give me that. No other piece of antiquity blew up as Jesus did. Have you seen Islam? What about Hinduism? Also, just because it's the most popular doesn't make it true. The majority of Americans used to think that slavery was fine. Does that make slavery fine? No. So, the majority vote doesn't really matter. Did you leave because of pain and suffering, or because you wanted to live your own life and do things how you want? Neither. I left because I had no reason to believe. I do believe in George Washington. And it's also, when it comes to stuff like that, there's not like a cult of George Washington. If I'm wrong and George Washington doesn't exist, wow, you pulled the rug out from underneath me. That's crazy. It's so different from this God exists that you have to follow, otherwise he's going to punish you in hell for all of eternity. But we also have more actual writings and painting portraits done and eyewitness accounts of George Washington. You're sad and a little bit gay. Also, George Washington does not exist. Okay. I think we have reason to believe that George Washington exists. I am a little sad and gay. So, there you go. Which religion is the most banned? Is the most burned, banned, ridiculed, marginalized, mocked, and rejected? Christianity, because Satan knows it's true. The kingdom divided against itself will not stand. Christianity is kind of an awful religion, so the fact that it's so widespread and it's so awful is going to give it a lot of pushback, unfortunately. And unfortunately, it's not always nice pushback. It's just kind of a thing. That does not make it true. Sad and gay right there with you. No beheadings in Christianity. Does that make Christianity true? Knew I was gay because of my hair. Is this a gay haircut? I wouldn't be upset if it was, but is it? I don't even have the blonde highlights that I used to because I have a head injury and don't want to dye my hair, but honestly, I'm getting a lot of chats and like I need to end a live. I usually only do these lives for an hour. That's a lie. I usually say that I'm going to do them for an hour and go for like an hour and 15 minutes and then stop because I'm usually having so much fun. I'm enjoying it so much. It's like you guys, it's still, because there's never a good time to stop the live because right now there's a lot of good questions coming in that I want to discuss. But also an hour ago there were a lot of good questions coming in that I want to discuss. Like it's not going to be a thing. What makes Christianity so awful? See the rest of my content. Why do I keep ignoring what? I'm also debating on ending the live because I really should. Believe in Christopher Columbus? I have reason to believe in Christopher Columbus for the same reasons that I gave for George Washington. Okay, I'm gonna cut it off. Somebody brought up homosexuality. Homosexuality is sin, but yes, you shouldn't be insulting him, but sharing the gospel with him. I'm trying to convince myself to end the live because I really should. There's nothing wrong with homosexuality or being trans. There's nothing wrong with being LGBTQ plus. I will fight you. With this video that's not about that. Maybe I'll change the thumbnail after this video. But it's time for me to go. I'm sorry. I've been at it for almost 2 hours. But I go live usually every Tuesday night at about 9:30, 10-ish Central Standard Time. I'd be happy to see all of you back. I'd be happy to continue all of these conversations. I'd be happier to do more 2-hour lives if this is what the chat's going to be, because I enjoy this and it's fun and it's enjoyable. It's awesome. I love it. And thank you all so much for interacting and asking good questions and having good conversations. I love it. I do. I just also have a life. I can't sit here forever. But thank you so much, everyone. It's been a very successful live, and I'm very happy with it. So thank you, especially because I am just a random nobody on YouTube. I don't really have any impressive credentials or anything. So the fact that anyone even stops on one of my lives for a second and listens to like a sentence is like really cool, because that's more than I think I deserve. But people who engage in chat, who follow, anything like that, that's even crazier, and it means even more to me. So thank you so much, all of you, for being here. Thank you for interacting. It is very much appreciated. I hope to see you all again in the future, in future live streams. I thank you for being here. I hope you all have a wonderful night. Bye.